What's up everybody, you're watching Model Aviator, I'm Adam. This week we have another episode in our Quick Look Fun Flight series for you. We're going to be taking a look at the FMS 1400mm Kingfisher. This is an airplane in the sport bushplane genre that we feel like gets overlooked by quite a few. And you may not know what you're missing. Stick around and we'll tell you why we think that. The Kingfisher is what we would call a park flyer size model, and we think given the speeds that it flies, it's a viable option for the park, in fact, so long as you're being safe and in accordance with whatever laws are in place where you live. It is sold as a plug and play, which means you choose the protocol and install your receiver. Any protocol is fine so long as it's a full range receiver. It does come with the Reflex gyro pre-installed. It is a 6-channel airplane out of the box. You have elevator, rudder with a steerable tail wheel, ailerons, flaps, throttle control, and you can use that 6th channel to flip between modes on that Reflex gyro. The Kingfisher's colorful paint scheme makes seeing it in any color sky pretty simple, and there is a slot at the top of the fuse that enables you to run string or fishing line around the carbon spar and use that as a tow line for a lightweight glider. It is intended for 3-cell power. They recommend 3-cell 2200s. We flew ours on Kinesis and Spectrum 2200 packs. It has a convenient top loader, and the battery bay is large enough to go all the way up to 3-cell 3600s if you were so inclined. It also comes with a second hatch. This is an FPV hatch. You have a piece of ply where you can mount your choice of action cam. You've got a bit of protection on the side and front for the camera and a slot for the lens. It comes with 3 different landing gear options, and all the hardware is included to mount them all. Obviously, you have the stock bush wheels, you have a set of skis that are spring-loaded, and you have a set of floats that are included. The water rudder is interesting. This actually attaches where the tail attaches and goes all the way down into the water. This is a little bit rudimentary compared to some of the on-float water rudders that we're used to, but from the footage I've seen of the Kingfisher on water, it is nonetheless effective. The Kingfisher assembly is very simple. As you can see here, it's a very low part count, and the manual does a great job of taking you through the few steps of the glueless assembly very quickly. It's going to take you 20 minutes to a half an hour depending on who you are. When it comes to the setup, the manual's a great place to start as well. They give you CG suggestions, throw suggestions, push rod placement suggestions. They leave Expo up to you, but you really need to fly the airplane to determine where you're going to have it for you anyway. Worth noting, we wanted more throw on the elevator and the rudder, so we have our push rods in the outermost hole of our servo arms and the center hole of the control horns on those 2 surfaces to get a bit more throw. You also have to set your Reflex gyro up on a 3-position switch. There's an insert that tells you how to do that. You'll have 3 modes: off, optimized, and stabilized. The stabilized mode is a self-leveling mode for a beginner where you let go of the gimbals and the airplane rights itself. That can also be used by an experienced pilot if you get disoriented and lose orientation of the airplane. The optimized mode is just a standard gyro stabilization mode. When it comes to our particular setup, our balance is 2 millimeters behind what the book suggests. We are at 100% rates, 20% expo on aileron, 25% expo on elevator, and 35% expo on rudder. And for what it's worth, here are our flap settings. When it comes to flight characteristics, we'll get into more detail during the flight, but in a nutshell, this is a solid, honest airframe, and even though it's 3-cell powered, it isn't lacking in power at all. Just watch the flight and you'll see what I mean. FMS puts this in the trainer category on their website, and we don't altogether disagree with that, although in my opinion, in the FMS line, the best first ever airplane is the 1220mm Ranger. In my opinion, your first airplane should be tricycle gear and as simple as possible, and that airplane fits that bill. I think that being a tail dragger, which makes it a bit more complicated to handle, and having flaps, which is just something else that you have to worry about, it adds to the pilot load, if you would. I think this is a great second airplane rather than a first. Everybody's different though, and there are exceptions. Given the reflex gyro and the included stabilize mode, obviously this is viable as a trainer, and some folks will be able to train and progress on this airplane just fine. When it comes to experienced pilots, obviously it's a very capable airplane. There's a lot of options as to what you can do with it. We had a good time flying it. Experienced pilots can have a good time flying anything, and obviously the Kingfisher is no exception. The price point is $269.99, and I personally think that is absolutely a steal. I think this airplane gets overlooked quite a bit and not really considered as much as it should be. Obviously, if you are looking for a bargain in the category, this is something you definitely need to look at. It very well could be one of, if not the best in the category for the price. Now, obviously, it is missing some of the features and the force cell power that some of the more expensive airplanes have, but they are a good bit more expensive, and it does come with some landing gear options that a lot of those airplanes don't have. So when you're shopping for your next sport bush plane, at least take a look at the Kingfisher. It might surprise you. If you decide that you'd like to add a Kingfisher to your hangar, we'll put a link in the description. When you go through that link, it doesn't cost you more, and it supports our channel. When you do that, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. We're going to get to the fun flight. Enjoy it. We did. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week with something cool with wings. We're immediately dropping the flaps and showing the slow flight characteristics. That is important to anyone shopping for a STOL plane. As you can see, it's very stable, very controllable in slow flight, and as you'll see here, it's very comfortable inverted as well. As you may have picked up there was very little down elevator required, and it only requires moderate speed to maintain inverted flight. It displayed no bad habits in the cross-control situation of a flat turn as well. The Kingfisher has quite a wide speed envelope. It's very stable slow, but it's also reasonably fast with pretty good climb rate for a 3-cell powered airplane. There wasn't quite enough power on tap for me to comfortably maintain a hover, but you will do better if you bring the flaps up after you get it into the hover, and I didn't do that time. There's more than enough power to do any kind of sport aerobatics that you want to do, and the wide speed envelope means that it's a very effective STOL plane if you want to fly it that way as well. We've got a bit of bonus footage for you here, just a little bit of STOL flying for you, nice slip. We're going to drag it in, really get the nose up and get it slow. Very short landings and a few plane lengths, a quick turnaround, and then a quick STOL takeoff. And you'll notice it didn't take anywhere near full power. Just pop the flaps down and ease her off, and you can be off in a plane length or two. The Kingfisher is one of those airplanes that makes getting the nose up and getting slow much easier. You can tell it's lightly loaded. And we'll finish off with a one-wheeler where I actually held my center line. This thing is fun. We had a great time flying it. If you're in the market for something like this, it's quite a bargain. Take a look at it. Happy flying. We'll see you next week.